What's up, crew? Welcome back to Libertalia Game Supply. I have cleaned up this Vaalmonica list. I posted one that did not play the Synchro monsters or the tuners or anything. My thought process was if I built something a little bit cheaper, it might be a little bit more friendly to people just trying to pick it up for fun. But this will be the more expensive version. I felt kind of bad about including the SP in it, but then I realized that Konami just released Ashen, which is probably going to be more of a casual rogue archetype based on the cards so far. And to play it effectively, you would need 3 $110 bonfires, and so all of a sudden I feel way less bad about including a single $100 card, with the rest of the deck being fairly affordable. I suppose that kind of depends on whether or not the new Vaalmonicas end up being like secrets or something. This guy's a little bit pricey, but otherwise not too expensive, and you could just play a Nightmare Griffin or something if you didn't want to spend the money on that. But we won't waste time going over every single card. I'm sure you've seen what they do by now. If you want a more thorough walkthrough, you can check out the video I posted like 2 days ago. I'll link it down below. But the same Vaalmonica lineup, 3 of everything because you gotta have it. I trimmed down the other engines here, so we've got the 1 Zephyros, the 2 Trick Clown, and the 1 Mirror Conductor. I got rid of the Damage Jugglers and the Flame Eater. Somebody had pointed out, like, you know, you can do that, but it just feels a little bit redundant just because if you can get this to your hand as your discard versus having to discard to search this to your hand and then hoping to find a new discard, it's way less good. You could always pendulum summon it, but it's a little bit clunky. So I'd rather happen to see these and get the plus off of them versus like be forced to see them and have nothing to do with them, basically is what that came down to. And then the Mirror Conductor has a quick effect to be able to reverse attack and defense, so that can be good for just manipulating attack and defense points for, you know, whatever damage you're attempting to do or not do. But it burns you in that instant as well, so it has a quick effect extra counter on the demon, which could come in handy. For the Synchron engine here, I ended up going with just the 3 Assault Synchron and the 3 Tuning. I was going to go 2 and 2, and basically what the plan would have been is to go triple voice and then 1 of an additional field spell. So Summon Breaker would be a floodgate, or like Black Garden would throw a bunch of tokens on their side of the field. The problem is if they can link someone with tokens, you're pretty much just giving them a ton of bodies. And so basically I just wasn't a fan of the Ancient Fairy Dragon situation, meaning if I wanted to keep this in here, there needed to be a reasonable second level 7 Synchro monster that made it worthwhile. The only one I really was liking was Quibelt the Blade Dragon, because you get that pop, and then you get an additional pop when it gets destroyed, but that just didn't feel worth taking up 2 slots in the main deck to be able to do that potentially. And if we're going first, we do not want to summon this because you have nothing to pop. So you're just hoping that it gets destroyed versus banished or bounced, and not really worth your while in my opinion. The rest of the deck is largely the same. The only thing that's changed is the Versera went down to 2 and the Disharmonia I went up to 2. I was at 1 and 3 here, I believe, in the previous list. This I didn't think would be as handy as it has been now that I've been really able to test it for a little while. Getting the extra counter on whichever one you choose can help you like set your combos up perfectly to be able to make whatever of your in-archetype link monsters that you want. And having that recycle effect means you can essentially copy like whatever spell you would end up discarding for the Pendulum Scales activation or anything like that. And I'll show you in the combo at the end here how that would come in handy. It can set up, what you're looking at is basically 5 interruptions plus a board wipe for 7 monsters, and it's pretty cool. The extra deck is also cleaned up a little bit here. We had to make room for our Synchros, the Manadium, the Blackwing, the Borreload, and the Barone. I would say this is the perfect lineup for Synchro monsters. Any extra stuff starts to get into like more niche uses, and I don't think that there's enough room to justify that necessarily. It's also really easy if you have the Borreload Savage Play, or like if you get a couple of extra extenders in your hand, you can easily go Barone, Borreload plus Zeb plus the trap and have just even more negates, even more destruction to cause. And so in order to work around like having to summon a link monster that you don't want to use yet or whatever, we're playing the 1 Magistus. You can just link off the selector for the Magistus and link off the Magistus for the Zeb, and you're there, and it costs you no additional bodies. We've got 2 Zeb, 1 Duraloom. The Duraloom is just your big board wipe blowout card. The Zeb, if you summon 2 of them, you can only summon 1 per turn, but you can make 1, and then in your opponent's turn, when they battle, you could make the other one if you didn't want to make the Duraloom, or you couldn't, and they can both activate to copy something. So if you were to just go trap in the back row and 2 of these, or 1 plus a body to make the second, you could just use this trap 3 times in a turn. I thought that was kind of funny and interesting to mention that to you guys. But I'll stop rambling now. I'll show you guys this 3-card combo, set up a bunch of interrupts, a big board wipe, and hopefully you can close out the game by the next turn. Actually, you should very much be able to close out the game on the next turn if it all goes through the way you're planning. Alright, so for a 3-card combo here, we've got 1 Voice, 1 Choice, and 1 Assault Synchron. The Voice could be this, Terraforming, or Selector just in your hand as the normal summon. So we're playing 7 of this. Synchron we're playing 3 of, plus 3 tuning, so we're playing 6 of this. And then the Choice is going to be the only real hard draw to get to. We only have 3, and there's not really something that searches this without losing out on some other aspect of the play line. So this would really be what makes a hand extra good. Otherwise, you can do a lot of more minimal plays without that. It could be any other discard. But we're going to go for the full thing here. We'll use Voice, grab Selector, normal summon Selector, and then get its effect on summon to search. We're going to search the Invitation. Invitation is going to activate. We're going to get our pendulum scales going here. 1 light, 1 dark. We want this one in the extra deck so that we can copy the spell or trap search here, and we're going to grab the light to the hand because of that. We're then going to use the light to set our pendulum scales on the board by discarding Choice. Get them both on the board here, and then we're going to go with the Assault Synchron first, get a counter going here. Assault Synchron summon, burn for 700, we get a counter. We're going to make the Vanadium Synchro on summon. We get 2 effects. The chain order kind of matters, kind of doesn't. I suppose if there is something in particular you want to guarantee goes through, you just do that as chain link 1. But in this instance, we have nothing else in hand, so there's not really a choice you're making. So we'll just go chain link 1, Vanadium, chain link 2, Selector. Selector will go to hand. Assault Synchron will go back on the board, and then we can pendulum summon. We get both monsters available. Demon has to go in an extra monster zone. Selector has to go on the field. Demon's effect to copy the Choice will activate. We're going to get a search. For this search, we're going to go for Disharmonia. This is going to really start piling up the counters. So now we've got 2 on Demon, 0 on Angel, but we're about to even that out here. So Disharmonia is going to give a free counter to either one. We're going to go Angel here, and then we're going to go another one on Angel by using the effect to recycle a banished Vaalmonica card. So now we're up to 2 and 2, and we're going to bump the Demon up to 3 by using this Choice out of our hand. And we're going to search the trap. So I suppose it could be something else. If you drew the trap, you just pick something. This is probably a fine choice to get another free body, and then you could go into like an IP or something. But we're going to go the trap here. So now we're at 3 and 2. We're going to make our Barone. We'll use our 2 monsters there, and then we can make our Zeb. So for our Zeb, you have 2 monsters you can use. I'm going to say leave this one up, just because when you pass turn and you use this to link again, it'll go back to your hand, so it's a little bit of follow-up, and then we'll set. So what you have is the negate off of Barone. This gives you the copy, but we have the trap in the back row, so you can't copy it yet. I guess if you wanted to copy one of your spells, you have those available to you, but that's not really going to be what makes it a really nice interaction on your opponent's turn. So when you pass turn here, your opponent's going to do something. We can activate this trap and then not use any of its effects. Not recommended, obviously. We want to use the effects if possible. But if we say, for instance, that they're not playing like a field spell-based deck, or they don't have a deck that requires any type of spell or trap in the back row, you can apply both effects and then just choose not to pop a spell or trap on the field and get the bounce as soon as they summon a monster. We'll skip both, obviously, because we're not playing against anybody. But now we're at 4 and 3. The Zeb can copy the trap to do another bounce and another back row pop. So there's 4. We still have that Barone negate. And then when they attack, or if they don't, then I guess you've done your job already at that point. But if they're able to play through your 5 interrupts there and still put some monsters on board, when they go to attack you, you can link away your Selector. It'll go back to your hand, and we're going to put the Duraloom on board. Duraloom gets to pop a card for every resonance counter in your pendulum zone when it's link summoned, and you currently have 7. So we can pop 7 monsters plus your 5 interrupts there. So I would say pretty solid board for a deck like this. Alright, so let me know if you come across any interesting combos with this deck. It seems like there's a lot of possibilities for the extra deck to really do some interesting stuff. So if you've seen something crazy, let me know down below. I, as well as anybody else in the comments section, would probably appreciate getting to see what other stuff this deck can do. Happy deck building. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Goodbye.